guys, so often here on YouTube when people talk about their personal finances, majority of people would just either talk hypothetically, and for those that someone like me who share the actual numbers, we come to a stage where we start to reconsider things like, do I really want to share this out in the world, or do I just want to keep this to myself? Today's video is one where I'm always honest and frank in my videos, but I'm going to share my raw thoughts at the end of this video. These are ramblings from back in September when I literally was feeling some type of way, you guys, and I just decided, you know what, I just filmed my Transfer Tuesday that day. It was a Tuesday, I remember for sure. I just finished my Transfer Tuesday and I slumped back on this very sofa and I was like, you know what, I'm feeling like word vomiting right now, so let us turn the camera on. It was already set up on the tripod, so I figured why not. So I did, and everything that I'll be sharing in this video was unfiltered, and it was just something that was really sitting on my mind. It was playing on my heart, and I was just like, you know what, let's just do it. So as you can see by the title of this video, I am 100% over leveraged, or maybe I should say I was over leveraged, because since feeling that way back in September, I decided to make these changes, and we are halfway through the month of October, and I've implemented some of the changes that I'm going to talk about in this first segment of the video, and you'll be able to see what I mean once you also watch my ramblings, which will be the second part of the video. So I have my trusted notebook here because, you know, your girl, I write everything down, and I mean everything. So back in September, almost at the end of September, I wrote why I am pausing my investments. So for regular viewers, you know that I shared a video a couple months back where I was asking the question, should I pause my investments? And there were some really good suggestions there. Somebody was like, you should just stop investing altogether until you are in a position where you can actually like afford it, you know, in a way. And I didn't like the sound of that at all. As a long-term investor, I know time in the market serves me well, but my current self, as I mentioned in the second part of this video, could do with the money that I'm trying to put away for the future. And that's where I wanted to literally share the structured part and then the word vomit in the next part. So the question, why am I pausing my investments? The main reason outside of being over leveraged is the fact that I've already achieved my 2024 investment goals. So if you didn't know, I am currently in year 4 of my 5-year plan to become a millionaire, right? And I had goals for each year. I wrote the goals back in 2020, and year 1 was 2021. So we're in 2024, which is my year 4. My year 4 goal was to reach 100k in my investments. If you saw last week's Sunday's video, you will know that I am about 118 or 120k in my investments, all my investments combined. So I achieved this goal way back when, I think at the beginning of Q2 or something like that. So that's one of the main reasons. I already achieved the goals. The second main reason is the fact that I have debt that I need to pay off. And the second part of this video, I am going to talk about the debt. Like, this is my entire story from back when I finished university up until this year. So I did not have debt for a long time, and then I have slowly been getting back into debt. It started off with buying this home, my main home. Then I ended up buying 3 more homes, so I ended up in mortgage debt. But then credit cards. Me and credit cards, we used to be cool. I don't know how and when I fell off the bandwagon, and now we are at each other's throats. So I am ending up making certain financial decisions that I'm not proud of, but I've made them anyway. And I must say that year 4 has been a trial. And I was looking at my word for 2024, and my word for 2024 is Kaizen. And Kaizen, I think, is a Japanese word, and it literally just means continuous improvement. And child, it is really testing me this year to see if I will improve. I feel like in some aspects I am, and in some aspects I'm just like almost going backwards. But anyway, that's one of the main reasons I do want to pay off the debt that I've been accumulating. I even want to say from last year, Q4 of last year, and all throughout this year seem to have been accumulating debt, and I'm done. I'm fed up. My money is going everywhere. I am investing to the max that I can. Like, for example, at work I get employer match and additional investments that I can do. I'm literally utilizing everything to the limit. My employer match, I'm utilizing the full 8% limit, and then they give me 12%, which makes it 20% overall. Then I send additional to my pension, and then I also invest in the company, the max that they offer. And then there's another employee program that I signed up, I think last year. So I was definitely investing everywhere, plus my Vanguard investments that I personally manage. So that was just a whole thing, and I was just like, no, we need to cut back somewhere. Like I said, I wasn't too keen on cutting back on my investments because I'm looking at the future. The UK is looking at maybe increasing our retirement age to 71. I have no plans of waiting until then. First of all, I don't think state pension will be around for people like me in my age. I don't think we'll have that. So I am investing now for the foreseeable future. So that's why I was just like, okay, I don't want to pause or stop investing because I want to make sure I am building a nice buffer for my future self, and I don't want to be a burden to my children, to my family. I want to be able to have my own monies that can support me in old age. But yeah, so that was one of the main reasons why I was so resistant in pausing my investments or even stopping them altogether. The third reason here that I've been talking about the entire time, and the title of this video, is that I am over leveraged, and I've just spoken about this in detail. You know, over leveraged at work, I am completely 100% maxed everything that they offer at work, and then in my personal life I was sending between 700 to 1,000 pounds to invest in, whereas I'm struggling to make, I still make minimum repayments to my debts, but trying to get ahead on repaying them, I was like severely struggling. And then my rental properties, again, first world problems, but my rental property, the second one especially, just went through the motion. Like, everything that could go wrong with that property has gone wrong, and it has cost me pretty penny. So because of that, I've kind of just been like, oh, postman, I've just been like, okay, I need to do something, and that's exactly what I've decided to do. I do mention the amount in the second segment of this video, but what I have implemented at the time of filming this video is my Vanguard ISA and my SIPP. I was sending 500 in total to these two investments. I am 100% canceling that. I have canceled that. So October, November, and December, I'm not investing. I need to come back to this because this postman is not going away. Okay, I'm not really sure where I was before I was really interrupted by the postman, but thank you, Mr. Postman. So I'll just start again. So for Vanguard ISA and my SIPP, I sent in total 500 pounds, 300 to my ISA and 200 towards my SIPP. I have paused that completely. So like I said, October, November, and December, there will be no investments that I'll be making to Vanguard. If I do have some additional funds here and there, then maybe I'll send some, but I don't foresee that happening. I decided to pause one of my work contributions. I was sending 125 to that one, and my intention was to actually change it to just 25 pounds. So I have have three opportunities for investment at work. So the first one is not my employer match, that we're going to leave separate, but extra pension contribution that I do. And that one I was sending just over £400. I decided that I was going to cancel that 100% because obviously I need to put this money back. The only problem is me stopping that pension contribution, that extra pension contribution, just means that I'll be paying more in tax. So I'm not getting the whole £400. I am getting whatever tax bracket I end up falling into because of adding £400 into my overall gross income. So I haven't really counted that in the numbers because I'm not really sure what that looks like on paper. Then the second opportunity, so yeah, that's the first opportunity with the pension. The second opportunity is investing in the company, the global company. That one I can adjust as I see fit. I am maxed at the moment. They allow us to invest 125 from our paychecks. I was investing 125. And then the third opportunity is also another employee program for the UK branch of the company, investing in the UK branch, and I was sending £200 to that. So I decided that for the UK branch, I actually adjusted this back in July, I think. I think I adjusted it down to £100, but I wasn't too concerned about that one. And then the one where I wanted to make changes, so the extra pension, I changed it from over £400 to just £23. Taxes, I just had to make it make sense for me. And then the second one, which I was contributing 125, I'm so sure I went in and I made the changes last month to be reflected in my current pay. My pay slip did not reflect that. It still took 125, and I was just like, huh? I thought I'd made the change. So I'm gonna have to go back into my employee portal and just have a look at that. But that's something that I also need to readjust and reduce to £25 and something like that. And then the free trade, I said I was gonna give up the £25 in total, but to be honest, I have already failed this because I just wanted to invest in the stocks and funds that I invest in on the free trade app. So I literally said £25 in the last 10 days. I know I said I'll cut back, but for some reason I just couldn't resist. So I must tell you guys, me investing is like an addiction. Not that I hop between investments, and this is not investment about advice, but I have stocks and funds that I believe in and I've been investing in since 2020, and I haven't made changes. I think I made one change back in 2020 and I haven't touched them since. I just invest in them since then. So I was just like, let's see. So I added something to them, but essentially what I was looking to was to bring back about £650 back into my budget, and that's about 1,950, about £2,000 in the next 3 months. And I thought that's actually worth it because that £2,000 can help me bring down, if we look at the nationwide debt, it will help me bring that down a lot. So yeah, but my focus is refunding my emergency fund, so there is that. But that is the structured part. That is what I wanted to convey in this video. So the duration of this pause will actually be just until the end of the year, so 31st of December. So 31st of December, I'm going into the app at work and reverting back to my usual contributions, so over £400 towards my pension, back to max of 125 towards my other employee opportunity at work, and then I'll switch my Vanguard investments back on. I'll set up my direct debit again to go out on the 16th of the month or something like that, back to what it was before, and resume contributing my £500 towards my investments. So I'm just going to pause this until the end of the year, but from the beginning of the year, beginning of 2025, we're going back to what I've been doing the last 9 months of 2024. So that is the structured part, that is the video. Now you guys are going to see me in the second part of this video. Like I said, this was filmed back in September, and just hear my word vomit and my raw thoughts. Like I said, I wasn't sure if I wanted to include this, but I feel like it's important. So I'll see you guys in my next video real soon. Let me know your thoughts about both this first part and the second part below in the comments, and I'll see you in my next video real soon. Hey guys, welcome to my couch potato session. I give up. I'm feeling very much defeated with my finances right now. It's Tuesday, 24th of September 2024. I don't know when I intend to make this video live, but it's cold outside right now. It's raining, and I thought, let me film my raw thoughts. I don't want to formulate anything. I don't want to second guess myself and all of that good jazz. So a little bit of context. I have been on a financial journey, a serious financial journey, since 2020. A couple of days ago, I was talking with one of my best friends and telling them about how I turned my life around. When I finished university back in 2013, I was like, okay, thankfully I didn't have student finance, so there is that. I had a lot of payday loans though. I had a lot of debt to me. There was about £12,000, just under £12,000 in debt. So there was credit cards in there, there were payday loans, mobile contract loans, there was everything and nothing at the same time. So I finished university. My last exam was in May, and I had gone for an interview in April for a job, and I got the job after I finished my university, after I did my final exam. I got my results beginning of June. I think it was June 8th of 2013, and I started my work, my graduate job, end of June 2013. So I moved from my parents in Cambridge to Berkshire, near Newbury. So after I got that job, I sat down, and for the first time in my life, I wrote down budget, well, not a budget tracker, but a debt tracker. This was the first time I was like, no more, I can't continue paying. I used to live a life where I would get paid, I would pay my payday loan and borrow that same money right back the next day, and then pay my bills with what I borrowed. So I wrote down all of my debts. Most of my debts had been sold to debt companies. So, and there was a lot of letters that went to my parents that I had ignored for years. One weekend I'd gone to my parents, I collected all the letters. I wrote down my debt tracker, and I wrote down every single debt, who was the original company that I got the debt from, and who owned it now. So I had to call the original company to tell me about my debt. Then they told me they sold it to this company under this reference number. I called that company, asked them how much I'd owed because it was accruing interest because it's debt, right? And then they told me, yes, you owe us this much. We bought your debt from this company. And I was like, okay, super. So I got everything, and I remember, I think that tracker had about, I want to say 18 to 21 entries, because the debts weren't large if I look at the numbers now, but to me they were astronomical then. The debts were like £300 here, £200 there, £500 there, and I think the most expensive one was about £1,000, but I was earning 1,200 or 1,300, so that was astronomical for me. So I had just moved out of my parents' house. I was not exactly living by myself, but I was away from home. I was renting a room in a house, so I had to take out the rent. Then I had to take a bus to work, so I took out how much that would cost, and I told myself to live only on £100 for the whole month, for food and anything. And then the only life I had, actually at the beginning I didn't even have that, but I ended up adding the £25 for the gym. So the rest of the money that I had went to debt. I broke down every single debt, and for every single debt I put how much I could afford for each, because I needed to make something. And it was actually thanks to one of the debt companies. They actually asked me where my expenditure tracker was, so which showed like where, after all of my essentials are taken care of, where, what am I left with, and who else do I owe. So I didn't give them what I was paying for my rent, food, fuel, and council tax and all of that, but I did give them the tracker which contained all of my other debts and what I was thinking of paying each. So when they saw that, a lot of them were like, okay, we accept, because I just went with the mentality at that time, I remember, of this is all I have, this is all I can offer you, take it or leave it. And some tried to argue back, but I was just like, right, I can't afford that. I will call you back when I'm in a position to afford that. And then when I say that, they would be like, okay, let's start at the amount you've proposed, because some will be like, no, why don't you do 100? I'm like, then I'll not be able to afford the other debt. Obviously it's not their problem, but I told them, you take it or you leave it. I'll come back to you when I can afford to pay the minimum that you want me to pay. So I did that, and I was following the snowball method without even realizing I was following the snowball method. And I paid off debt after debt after debt, and that was quite a great feeling. Then that was 2013, and I think it took me into 2017 to pay off all of my debts, because in between that I was still living my life, right? I think maybe 15, I can't really remember, to be honest, but I left that company and I worked for another company by the time I was, so company 2 after I graduated uni was the company that helped me pay off my debt with my salary from them. And I lived a very comfortable life after that once I paid off all of my debt. So now I had a lot of disposable income, and I enjoyed not having any debt. And when I moved to this new company, I then sat down and made myself an emergency fund, and also saved up enough for a deposit to rent a place. So like whatever, I researched my area, found out how much typical rent went for, and then saved 2 to 3 times that, and then I went to look for a place. With my second job, I also, the first house I lived in, I rented a room from a family. Then I moved from that and I rented a room somewhere else closer to my work. And then it was living in that house that really taught me that I didn't want to share my house with anybody. So I rented an apartment by myself, and that's where I had to save all this money. I also saved for money for furniture and stuff like that. So again, continued living debt free. Then I got into debt when I got my car, my first car. So that didn't put too much of a dent into my finances, because like I said, I didn't have any other debt, so I had quite a large, to me, once I took out my rent and my bills, I had quite a large sum of money left for me. And by this time I think I'd gone to up to 2,000, 2,500 in my pay. So I continued that good life. Then 2020, obviously we know what happened in 2020, and I bought this house, this 3-bed house, and I think I went into even bigger debt, mortgage. I still had my car, but after 3 months, or 3 or 4 months, I think, of having both my mortgage and my car, I was like, I decided to raid my emergency fund. I paid off my car. I think I had about £8,000 left on the car, so I paid off the car, and the only debt I had then was just my mortgage. Then I got serious in 2020 about my personal finances, and I created my 5-year plan. We're in 2024. I'm currently in year 4 of my 5-year plan. So I then started working on, I wrote down my 5-year plan, what it looked like. It looked like me owning at least 3 to 4 rental properties, investing about 140K across all of my investment platforms, and having at least 50 to 65K in cash as emergency fund. So year 1, I bought, well, year 0 was when I bought my home. Year 1, I bought my first rental property. And year 2, I bought my second rental property. So I started going into good debt, so to mortgage debt. Year 3, I bought my third rental property. Year 4, I haven't bought any rental properties. Obviously, the financial state of the world is not favorable for some of us, at least. So yeah, it has been interesting, to say the least. I had been striving so hard, and if you watch my videos, you know that even though I'm striving as hard as I am, there's one thing I've refused to give up, and that is my travels, because that's the only thing I actually enjoy. I work hard at work, and my reward is traveling. But I have, as you saw, those of you who watch my video know, I took out a personal loan last year. So that was my first non-good debt that I got into, of 25K to renovate my home. And then this year took out another loan of 10K because life. And that just, for me, is a testament to just how incredibly interesting this financial life has been. I've made some silly decisions with my finances. I'm not perfect, far from it. But I feel like I've just been floating. Like truly, truly floating. And I'll make a more structured video on this soon. But you guys, I literally give up. I sat last night and I was just like, I can't go on like this forever. Like, something has got to give. When I shared that video about should I stop investing, I said in that video that I won't 100% give up investing. And some of you had some really good comments, which I didn't want to take on board at that point. But someone said, just stop investing altogether. And for me, that was a scary and not so nice proposal. I was like, why would I want to do that? I know time in the market will serve me well in the future. But current me is flipping struggling. Current me needs the money. Okay? Current me needs that money. And I debated over that, and I was like, no, I'm not giving up. I refuse. But then last night, I stumbled upon this TikTok video and it basically said you're doing too much with your money. And for some reason, I felt that that was meant for me to listen to. My money is doing too much. It has been spread thin, like thin, to a point where I literally sat a couple of days ago with one of my best friends, budgeted my October pay. It's not even October, you guys. And I budgeted that in advance like I always do, and I had zero money left. Excuse me. I was like, what the heck? Like, I budgeted it and I saw myself broke for the first time in how many years? 10 years. The first time in 10 years I saw myself broke. I was like, what the heck? That can't be right. That can't be right. The money's not even here yet and I'm already broke. How does that work? So I re-looked at some of the comments, tucked the tail between my legs, and re-looked at the comments, and I decided with the TikTok video, it's time. I am going to make changes for the last 3 months of the year. I literally need to do this. Like I said, I'll make a detailed video on this, a structured video, not of me rambling in my living room, because if there's one thing about me, if anything stresses me in my home, I will leave the house, go for a walk, or I will sleep. So right now I intend to sleep, because ain't no way my own finances are going to stress me like this. But they have caught me in a pickle, so I give up. I am going to stop investing. Oh, that actually hurts, you guys. Year 4 has been a monster. The goals that I set for myself, only 3 of them as part of my 5-year plan, I've only accomplished 1 of them, and I'm very proud of that one. I did say that these goals that I set for 2024 literally scared the bejesus out of me. I wasn't kidding, because they do. And with only 3 months left in the year, they are scaring me even more. But something has got to give. I can't continue being stretched this thing for much longer. So I did some numbers last night, and I'll be able to bring back into my budget at least £2,000 across 3 months. So about 650 to £700 a month. Yeah, back into the budget, which was quite funny to me when I saw the number. I was like, 650? That's the exact amount of money I need to pay to one of my loans. But because I already have that covered, it means 650 that I can send towards my other debts, my credit card debts, and my emergency fund. The majority of it I just want to send to my emergency fund as opposed to anything else, because I really need to, get back to having a comfortable cushion. But the TikTok talked about how it's probably best to focus on paying off this debt, and then you can have more money for your emergency fund. But I'm gonna do it the other way around, because at least even when I have debt, if I have a little bit of cushion somewhere, I won't fall too further back into debt, but that's what I'm thinking about right now. So yeah, this is me airing out my thoughts. I don't even know if I'll post this video, if I'm honest, because my mother always tells me off for not like looking a little bit put together. I've got bantu knots in my hair right now. I've got a dentist appointment in 2 hours. I'm having a tooth extracted. Maybe this is why I'm also feeling sorry for myself, because even though I have dental cover at work, it doesn't cover a lot of my dental expenses. So for me personally, it's not a benefit that I can take advantage of at work that's worth it for me. For my previous employer, all of our dental work was covered 100%. For this employer, they cover a fraction of it, which I know is a privilege, and don't get me wrong, I feel like a spoiled child because I got used to that cover with that employer. Not that we didn't work hard, we did, and we deserved it. That was the perks of the job. We give them 7 to 8 hours a day of our time, and they cover our health costs. But with this employer, just a portion of it. So personally, it serves me well to save up a dental pot for myself than to rely on my employer to cover it. Because I remember the first time this employer taught me a big lesson was when I had to have one of my wisdom teeth taken out and one of my other tooth with the root canal taken out as well, and that came to £700. And if I didn't have savings, that would have been me in credit card debt to pay that. But I had savings, so I just, as much as it hurt, took from that pot and I paid it. Submitted the claim to my employer, and they were like, we can't cover this. I was like, so what now? Then I canceled that dental cover. But then later I was like, maybe it's because I was on the lowest one. Let me go to the next level up. And I've been on the next level up for the last year. And even though I haven't had an extreme bill like that since, I think the last bill was about $320, which I was able to cover, that I cash flowed it. I still didn't get the full repayment from my employer, not even like 50%, no. So because of that, I was like, F this cover. I am probably going to cancel it at some point. So after my appointment, I'll see how much it costs. Then I'll submit my claim, see how much I get back, and then I'll cancel the policy. Or maybe I'll just go ahead and cancel it before I go in, because I am going to cover my own costs. Anyway, that's random Tuesday rambling. It's actually quite therapeutic watching it rain outside as I just chill here, ramble on to you guys. My house is quiet, and I probably should put Google 16 degrees right now. Should probably find my mobile and put my heating up, because it is cold. I've got my jumper on and I've got a blanket, my fleece blanket on. I'm starting to feel cold still. Adulting. Why were we in such a hurry to be adults? Because this is the ghetto. And I know for me, I mean, I'm sitting in a privileged position, but let me mourn for a moment. It's the ghetto. But, oh well. Those are my thoughts. I give up.